It is a delight to be joined by Mackenzie Critch, St. John's latest country music singer-songwriter star. How are you today, Mackenzie? Thank you for joining the program.
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. So we are recording on the 22nd of May this year, and I understand that it is a holiday in Canada. So tell me more about what it is.
Yeah, this is the May 2 for a long weekend, so everyone kind of packs up and goes to their cabins. It's just a weekend to spend with family and friends and enjoy time away from work and I guess home life.
I see. So yeah, so tell me about your tell me about what you're working aside from, I guess, music.
Yeah, I'm doing some school right now as well. I'm at MUN doing English, so I'm doing music as well as doing English at MUN. So just kind of balancing the two of those.
Glad to hear. Yeah, I was a major in English literature too, and by English you mean English literature, right?
Yes, yeah,
So are you currently in university or high school?
university.
hmm Yeah, and right, you mentioned the name of the university just before in passing. What was it again?
Memorial University.
Oh, Memorial. Okay, and that's
Yeah, we kind of shorten it into MUN, but
ah.
it's Memorial University.
So yeah, it's in St. John's, right?
Yes.
hmm So would English be your major?
Yeah, I think so. I'm doing it right now. I'm thinking about doing English major and a sociology minor.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I used to study one or two sociology classes during my first year of university too, but then I changed to English, which has been my major as an undergraduate. What year are you in?
I'm in my first year.
Congratulations. So you're almost finished with your first year then.
Yeah, I finished up actually about a month ago. We had
Oh,
our last exams. Yeah, I opted out of doing any summer courses because I wanted to focus on music. I had the song coming out, so I finished up a little bit early, which was nice.
awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Um, Tell me about the English curriculum in which you're studying.
Yeah, so right now I'm doing kind of all over where it's my first year, but it's mainly literature. Like we are working on kind of early 1900s literature right now. So like I guess what would be like your advanced Sherlock Holmes or something like that, like the new stories from him, like for about him and stuff. So it's kind of just following stories that like digesting them, basically just finding out the meanings in them. It's pretty much it for right now.
Mhm. Yeah, that's good enough. And I certainly hope that in the upcoming years you're going to study the classics, which are always really nice.
Yes. Yeah, that's supposed to be next year we start the classics. So this year was just kind of an introduction into like literature itself and kind of the bare bones of it. Now next year it'll be diving deep into it.
I see. Yeah, I remember it was this time 2 years ago where I was finishing my final course as an undergraduate. And I studied I did one summer class because I didn't do the full course load during the terms, but yeah, it was my final class then. And I remember I was in Peterborough, Ontario, because I didn't get a chance to visit home. So but summer there was really nice. So tell me about summer in St. John's where you are.
It's usually pretty nice in the months of July and August. May and June are kind of like raining. It's a little bit cold, but it starts to warm up. Sun comes out, the grass gets green around like July and August, but it is very, very humid here. So you kind of, it's like, it's not dry heat as if you're in the West. It's very humid because we're right by the ocean.
Oh, yeah. So what are some of your favorite summer activities?
I love going for walks with my friends, like at Bowring Park, which is like our big park here in St. John's, and just hanging out with friends. I have a pool in my backyard, so getting in the pool, coming up to my cabin, spending time with family.
hmm Yeah, I think swimming is one of my favorite summer activities too. Even though
Yeah.
I don't like the public pool so much because of the chlorine, but I prefer a natural body of water. So I was fortunate in that in Peterborough there's a river that flows through it. Autonomy it was named, and I would spend my time like often with friends swimming there, and the water is so crisp and fresh.
Yeah.
So, are you friends with any of the fellow St. John's musicians?
Yeah, I am. St. John's is a pretty close-knit musician. See, well, all of Newfoundland, we all kind of know each other and help each other out. I'm very grateful to be in an industry where kind of everyone's so supportive of each other. It's lovely. And I guess I really love it. I have some really close friends. I've met some of my closest friends through the music industry. So,
Mhm. Yeah, I've had a chance to meet a good amount of them during this show. I believe Madeline Carter says that you were one of her good friends, right?
yeah, me and Madeline Carter are really close. When she moved here, I met her through another friend, and we just hit it off. She's so talented. I love her fiddle playing, her personality. She's
Mhm.
just fantastic. I love Madeline.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's becoming a good friend here too. And yeah, it's funny how I should say that I haven't had the best fortune of making friends in my local area. Never been like even the place that I grew up, Hanoi, Vietnam. But I've managed to make maybe more friends in on this show than yeah, any of the localities in which I happened to be at the time. So and yeah, Madeline was
Yeah,
one of them.
it's awesome now with the virtual world. You can connect with people and make new friends. Like I've even in the music industry alone, I've met people from all over the world that I never would have had the chance to meet
Hmm.
if it weren't for kind of these virtual conversations.
Oh yeah. So tell me about the reception of your single "O3" when it came out. I believe it was May the 12th, right? That it was released.
Yes. Yeah. So that came out on May 12th. It was phenomenal. I had so much support. I was overwhelmed. I didn't expect the song, well, to kind of touch people the way it did and relate to people as well as it came off, which was really awesome. It was received fantastic. I've been given a lot of great feedback and a lot of awesome opportunities from the song already. So I couldn't be more happy and grateful.
Awesome. Yeah, and I should say that I got to know of you and the song through Madeline actually. She got me into your music. And so tell me about the title. Is it happen to be 2003? Like oh 03?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a shortened version of 2003. I just kind of shortened it down to '03.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's kind of a funny concept for a song, but I thought, you know what, in Newfoundland, we have this infamous street, George Street. I'm sure you might have heard about it. And everyone kind of wants to get down there. That's the thing. It's the hot spot. All your friends go when you turn 19. And often people get fake IDs to go down and hang out with their older friends, but they don't tell their parents and they beat around the bush around it. So I was like, this is kind of a cool concept for a song because it's something that I know a lot of people my age can relate to. So I kind of took that idea and ran with it with like a name that I had and just kind of went Anna in '03 as if like you're not yourself at this bar, you're kind of being this fake identity. And yeah, so that was kind of the idea for it.
Mhm. I see. So it is about growing up, right? The song.
Yeah, it's kind of that weird stage between, I guess, like 18 and 21, where you don't really know what's going on, but you're just trying to like enjoy the moment and have fun with your friends and kind of just, I guess, grow up, but still enjoy like your youth.
Mhm. So it's that part between high school and university, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's kind of like between high school and university. Some people, um, I guess they go away for school and then they come home and they want to get like a taste of home and then they miss it. So it's kind of all about, I guess, just reconnecting with yourself in a sense, in like a comedic way through the fake ID.
Mm-hmm. I see. So it's 2003, your birth.
No, I'm a 2004 baby. So that's why I chose 2003 because it would be like a fake ID that would be a year older than me and would be
Oh,
about
right.
20 now.
I see. So I'm guessing this year you'll turn 19, which is, I believe, is the legal drinking age in Canada, right?
Yes, in most parts of Canada that is the legal drinking age. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll get to retire the song
I see. Um, when's your birthday?
in December. So I'm still 18, still a little baby.
Mm-hmm. So you're anticipating the your birthday so that you can get your first like legal drink, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm honestly most excited about kind of getting to actually see my friends play
Mm,
because that's something a lot of my friends now play in bars, and I obviously can't go
oh,
in because I'm 18.
I see.
So that's what I'm most excited about. Is just kind of to be able to just sit down and watch my friends do their performances without like being asked to leave because I'm underage. So that's the most exciting part. Like Madeline, for example, she's played all over like downtown all the time, and I feel so bad because I can't go to a lot of her gigs, and that's what I'm most looking forward to kind of like support my fellow musicians in the way that they've supported me.
Mhm. I'm glad to hear it. I also happen to know Darcy Scott is another one who've been on this show. There's Abigail and there's Rachel Cousins. They are really nice people too, and I wonder if you know all of them.
Yeah, me and Darcy are actually really close. He's one of my best friends here. And I know Rachel pretty well as well through the music industry. I've kind of met her through Darcy.
Mhm.
I'm not as close with Abigail, but I met her in passing, obviously, through the industry itself.
I see. Well, so I wonder, so you're attending university at the moment. How have you been getting on with like other people there? Like, have you been making friends there?
Yeah, it was hard the first couple months. I'm gonna be honest. It was like difficult because you obviously have your friends and you don't wanna, you're nervous to meet new people, I guess. But as I've got in, well, first I went into university as a biology major. So I was doing kind of all science courses. And I met a lot of my friends that I have now through my labs. So the first semester I did like a biology lab and all that stuff. So I met them through that. So it was really nice. I found getting into like a hands-on environment, not as much as a learning environment, was a lot easier for me to like connect with people and make friends.
Hmm. So what made you change from biology to English?
I don't think I'm a biology person. I didn't love the whole, I guess, the curriculum of it. It was kind of weird the way it was laid out, and I thought I would love it, but in the end, it wasn't really me. And so I was doing a couple English courses as well.
Hmm.
And my English prof actually approached me and she was like, your writing is really good and advanced for your, I guess, skill level in this course I was in. And so she said, all right, consider doing English. Like, just consider it. Because I was like headstrong and being like a science gal at that point. And so I kind of thought about it and I thought the English degree would also help my music in a sense because I could take some like poetry courses and just some like literature, punctuation, stuff like that. So that's why I decided to go to the English side.
I see. Yeah. In my first semester of my first year, I was an environmental science major. When I think about it, now I find it kind of silly because I had no real interest nor any expertise in the subject. But it was during the second term, which I attended an English literature class that really got me into it. Yeah, I remember the name of the course is called Setting a Scene or Making a Scene, and it was about workshopping certain scenes from certain plays, and we examine the characterization of the speakers as well as how a certain line should be delivered, and yeah, that got me really intrigued. And one of the professors who was teaching that course really encouraged me to pursue the subject, which was really nice. So he actually was the first like teacher or mentor figure that I really enjoyed like having because when I was back in grade school, the kind of the competence as well as the level of care that the teachers exhibited were drastically low. So I never got into any of the subjects. So I wonder
Yeah.
how was the school experience for you? Like say from the grade school experience, I mean.
It was pretty good. I kind of for my first like primary years, it's like grade 1 to 6. I switched schools in the middle of that, so that was a little bit difficult, but I always had no trouble making friends. I'm a very outgoing person, especially as a child. I would like see someone, hi, I'm Mackenzie, what's your name? So that was really easy. And then when I went to junior high, it was tough. I'm openly with I battle with mental illness, and that's what a lot of my songwriting comes from.
Mhm.
Kind of just awareness for people who've had those struggles through junior high and high school. So that was kind of something I was dealing with through junior high up into the beginning of high school. And then I around grade 11 is when I really found my people, and the teachers were all so supportive of me, especially when it came to I was struggling in class or struggling to make friends. I found they always made the effort in high school to kind of include me in things, especially one of the teachers that I had is the reason why I chose English, and then I want to be a high school teacher in the end. I want to do the bridge program. It's at Mon, they've got it like you can just do 1.5 years of education, then you have your degree. So he really inspired me to kind of take that route and start like sharing my thoughts with students. And he really changed my life on the way I look at things. He was a biology teacher, so that's why I went into biology. So I was like, I want to be just like you. But then I was talking to him after I went to go visit him at school, and he was like, Mackenzie, you and I both know like you love reading, you love all this stuff. Just follow your path and what you think is best. And I think he's really always inspired me to kind of do what I love. If it was in school, if it was like, don't do this topic on a paper because you're not going to find enjoyment in it, or if it was like a career path, he was always very helpful.
Mhm. Yes, and I wonder if even before you started becoming an English major, what was your favorite book to read?
Um, I would have to say, oh, this is difficult. I love The White Oleander. I don't know if you've read it. It's a fantastic novel. I can't remember who's by now, but that was kind of when I went through high school. That was like my favorite book. I read it so many times. It's about a young girl whose mom is a poet, and she kind of went really famous and kind of forgot about this little girl. So she had to kind of bounce around foster homes because her mom was doing this big thing and kind of forgot about her, which is it's really sad when you think about it, but it's written so beautifully, and you watch this girl go through life kind of navigating her way and being her mom's muse at the same time. And that book was always phenomenal. And in grade school, I loved Number of the Stars by Lois Lowry.
Mhm.
Um, that book was kind of the first book that got me into reading and wanting to like kind of digest books more and see like go down to the bare bones of a novel and kind of see what the people are thinking, why they do what they do. And that book really was fantastic. It was about the Holocaust, and it was so beautifully written. It's only like 150 pages maybe, but still it was fantastic.
Yeah, tell me about the titles again.
The White Oleander is the one about the little girl, and Number of the Stars
Mhm.
was the the one about the Holocaust.
Well, that's impressive. Yeah. It's really fascinating because when I was growing up, I don't find people who like reading all that much. I think I was the only person of my age who I know that enjoys reading books, like, and it's not just like comic books or was it young adult fiction, but like really serious novels. I remember the book that got me into reading was The Catcher in the Rye by Solinger. And it made a huge impact on me at that time. I remember I was what, 14, 15, and it was the character of Holden Caulfield. You know, many people today would think of him as kind of a brat and kind of an obnoxious person, but he was saying and thinking the same things as I was saying and thinking at that time, where life was not all that smooth for me. So, so yeah, it got me into reading, and I thought that, and I thought about the potential of the language, not just to signify things, but to express things as well.
Yeah, of course. That's what I love about books is you can kind of connect with yourself as well as these imaginary characters, which is fantastic.
Mhm. Yeah, I talked to Rachel Cousins before, and she did mention that her struggles with mental illnesses also drove her into like creating music as an outlet. So yeah, I wonder if you can tell us more about your experience doing that.
Yeah, it was during high school. I was bullied a lot. Whether it was cyberbullying, like in person or physically, I was kind of always a target through school. So one thing that I always did every single day was I'd come home from school and I'd write in a journal, on a piece of paper, whatever it was. I loved to write kind of my thoughts, my feelings, what happened that day, document this, digest it, and that's how I dealt with it. Was I kind of just I let it out and then I kind of nitpicked it and that was what I did. And then I ended up using those notes that I wrote for my songs. So the next or probably the third song that I want to release is almost word for word from those little notes that I wrote as like a 15-year-old, just not knowing they would come into songs, but this is just my feelings at the time. I was angry, I was sad, and I just wrote. But then I realized that these moments in my life are really what define me as a person and my character, I guess, not only as a musician, but like my personality itself. So why not like share that with the world and show that it's okay. People come from all different backgrounds and different families, different experiences, and we can all connect on one thing that like not everything's perfect. So why do we keep making everything seem like this fantastic like glass when it's not?
Hmm.
So that's kind of what I've done with my music as well as kind of in my own life with those experiences.
Hmm. You know, the most obnoxious song that I've heard is from this person named Vitamin C, and it's that graduation song, right? And
Oh,
I,
I think I know what you're talking about.
yeah, na, 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 friends forever, something like
Oh,
that.
yes, yeah.
And what I find to be incredibly ear grating about that song is that she was describing almost utopian and almost a fantastical experience of going through high school that I've never met anybody who experienced that. The kind of where they say that, oh, it was always about making friends, and and they are going to stay with you for life, and even if it's not the case, then we'll always have high school. But in reality, high school for me sucked. It was the three worst years of my life. I was also bullied, but the tactic that they use is social ostracization, which continued in my years in university too. They would not include me in any of the activities. They would never talk to me unless they need me to. They need me to. I guess copy. They need the copy of my homework, and at the same time, the teachers did not care. I mean, and I thought I was alone, and in many respects, I was.
Yeah. And that's what is really sad about today's society is that me and you aren't the only people that we feel like we're alone because our like our society makes us feel that way in a sense. Like you would, if at that time in my life, I would never reach out and talk to someone about it. Like my parents really took control over that. I'm so grateful for them. They kind of introduced me to, like, I started going to therapy. I got help at the Janeway. I had a lot of support in that sense. But if they didn't give me that push to kind of like, okay, we need to work on this, I would have never done anything about it because I didn't have the support in my, I guess, like my social life or at school, which was really sad when, like, and then I know we grew up on probably two totally different sides of the world and different, like, backgrounds, but we had the same experience, which kind of, I hope that in the future, if I have children someday, that this will kind of shift into being more accepting
Mhm.
of kind of talking about it and being with people.
I see. Yeah, I hope that when I have children, I would homeschool them. It is much better. I want them to face all that noise.
Yeah.
You mentioned that the social scene in the schools that you go to change when you reach middle school, right? Grade 6.
Yeah. So going through all of primary, you're with the same 30 people every single day,
Hmm.
5 days. And you get, once you get to junior high, I guess people get a lot more freedom. You're still with the same people, but again, your parents aren't looking at you all the time. You're in junior high now. You can go out to lunch. You can see your friends after school. Like you have cell phones now. You have that so much freedom that no one prepared you for in grade 6. Like no one said to you, like, okay, it's gonna be a bit of a shock. You're going, like, no one really, like the teachers don't really care that much about you. Like they're there to guide you, but they're not there to protect you like in, I guess, primary school. So that's when your whole social world changes, that you've kind of got to, you're on your own then. And not as much like you're not on your own because there's still like teachers and stuff, but in like socially, like you got to figure it out yourself because your friends are going to start doing things and you probably may not agree with those things because they're giving this newfound freedom. And that's something you got to navigate. So your social circles change, and then they change again when you go to high school because you're in classes with like hundreds of different people every day because your schedules are different and you just kind of meet new people through your classes, which is really nice sometimes. But if you're someone that kind of loves your circle and likes to be by yourself, it can be really stressful as well.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember the social scene changed for me when I reach grade 6 too, and I understand that grade 6 is middle school where you are too, like junior high, middle.
It starts in grade 7 here, so you're still
Okay,
in primary school
okay.
in grade 6. You're technically still in primary school or elementary school, I guess, but you could be in a junior high. So it just depends on your town. But curriculum, like through the curriculum, you're still in elementary school.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, for me, middle school starts at grade 6, but I do remember in my years of primary school, I was made fun a lot for being overweight, which is still terrible. I think that goes on through high school too. Of course, my opinion is that you should not be tricking yourself into thinking that being overweight is healthy or anything because there are objective healthy body standards, but that doesn't give other people permission to shame you because of your body image. Yeah, and I think that is something that people in my school sort of like put me down because of that. I mean, that was just a start, but my first 5 years of primary school was not as bad as I thought because at that time everyone's only real goal of being at school is to get out of school as soon as possible,
Yeah.
and sometimes you hang out with people because you know uh, they didn't have a pencil at that time and they asked you to borrow a pencil from them and then hey, we're friends. So it's simple.
Yeah.
But I think middle school comes and I think the goal starts to change in that everyone wants to be cool in the eyes of their peers. So they would do anything to impress other people. And one of the ways that you could sort of like be in league with the cool kids is that you make fun of those who are uncool. So
Yeah.
what and I remember what's so traumatizing about that upon entering sixth grade is that there will be these kids who I don't think I was friends with, but I hung out with for years. And then once middle school starts, they pretend that they didn't know me.
Yep. That happens here as well. You kind of grow up with these people and then they don't know you. Like, actually, something happened yesterday. I was driving and I have a mint green buggy, like a Volkswagen bug. So you can't miss it. It's mint green. And there's only like two on the island here that I know of. And a bunch of these girls were in a car and they were driving next to me and they were honking and waving. And I was like, what, who is this? And then I look over and it was a bunch of girls from high school that I wasn't really friends with these people through high school. Like I didn't really associate with them. I was on a hockey team with them for about a year. But then all of a sudden now they see me in public or they see my car or something. They're like, "Oh my God, it's Mackenzie." And I'm like, "We weren't really that close, but okay, hi." Like I'll be friendly back. I'll always take a new friend, but it's kind of that same thing where people they change and they go through all these emotions and changes in life. And then I think they realize what they missed out on and the people they missed out on because they're putting others down,
Mhm.
which is really sad. But I guess I'm grateful that these people said hello to me because they're probably maturing in a sense of realizing now that they could have had like a lovely friendship, but they were so caught up in this world of high school and I guess toxicity and they never got to see the beauty in what could have been.
Yes, and I think one thing that's somewhat different with your cohort or your age group is that cell phones are like I mean, smartphones are like a really prevalent thing. And when I was growing up, it didn't become like a thing until high school. So I wonder what was the difference then? Like, what's the difference that cell phone makes?
Yeah, it makes a big difference. It wasn't too prominent up until about like grade 8 for me. That's when it started to get really like everyone was on their phones all the time. People were cyberbullying left, right, and center. Anything you could do on a cell phone, you do it. Like when it came to putting others down because they don't have that courage to say it to your face. But when you're typing it on the phone, you don't have to look at anyone, it's just your thoughts. And that's when kind of the whole like my whole age group as a whole shifted in a sense where we all got kind of caught up in our phones, whether it was like harmless things like you're always on TikTok or you're always on Instagram, but it also turned to be very toxic in a sense. People were using these apps as a way to put others down to climb the social ladder. So that
Mhm.
was very difficult. And I am grateful though, my teachers and stuff, they kind of never really let that happen when it came to high school. Like they were always like, okay, put your phones away. Like in class, there was a no phone policy pretty much. Now people still didn't like follow it,
Yeah.
but
Right.
it was it was always there. And the teachers definitely made an effort to like put it, especially like one of my teachers that was a big mentor for me, he always said like, okay guys, this is enough now. We're just gonna talk and chat. Is there something on your mind that you need to be on your phone right now and need to like put others down? Because he'd notice these people in the hallways getting upset over things on their phones. And so he'd always make an effort to like ask, which is what a lot of people don't do anymore. They don't ask, like, is everything okay? Because you're just on a cell phone and you're cyberbullied or your whole like personality is through a phone, you don't really have much of a personality then.
Mhm. Yeah, I think the worst impact that cell phones and socials do for me was actually in my first and second years as an undergraduate. And of course, you know that in those social media apps, there's this function called blocking, which obviously if you don't want to talk to someone, and if you are so quote unquote blocked from your, someone blocks you in their social media app, you are not technically allowed to talk to them in real life. And apparently, if you do so, they would involve like these like school authorities, and you be in big trouble. And I was the target of that all the time, and that is, I think, an extension of the ostracization that I've endured. Obviously, it can work very well if someone is constantly harassing you online, and you can just choose not to listen to or see any messages that they send you. But in this case, I get misunderstood a lot, and these certain very innocuous gestures or words that I make is somehow misconstrued as as not as innocuous as they are, and then these people, they just block me, and then I'm not allowed to speak to them even when they are attending the same classes as I am. And I thought that's just not right.
Yeah, it's definitely changed our world. It definitely some things are for the better. Like I guess you can connect with people like we're doing right now, but in that sense of like blocking people out and stuff, it's definitely ruined our socialization in that sense. And I find now like it's just getting younger and younger, especially even through like as I was a musician, um, the cell phones are how we promote ourselves. This is everything. Like through social media, you don't put an ad in the newspaper anymore saying like, oh, you're playing here. Everything is through social media, and we kind of I'm always have my phone on me because I'll get like an email for an interview or anything like that. Like I always have to be present, and that is something that I've learned to balance because you can get swept into it and your whole life could be on the phone. And now, like, I've noticed even I work in an after school program as well. And there's children that are like 10 years old coming in with their cell phones and they're swept into that again. And I'm like, you don't even have a job. This isn't even your livelihood like it is for some of us. But they're already getting attached to it and like into that cycle of, oh, we don't like this person, we're gonna block them. And it's like that's not fair. Give like talk it out. Do what like everyone else in the world used to do.
Mhm.
And um I really hope that that changes. And I like to bring light to these things in my music as well, because it's so important in so many people's lives. But again, you don't hear a song on the radio about like how someone was blocked and now you're not friends with that person. You'll hear a song about how someone's in love.
Yeah.
Right now, not to say that those aren't great songs, because I have lovely love songs, but and I've heard great love songs, but you don't, they're not highlighted or even in the news or in the media. You're not seeing that side of technology, which is kind of really sad.
Mhm. Yeah, there's that bigger social phenomenon, right? No, it's cancel culture, and is the bigger extension of the blocking and reporting thing that function that social media has. And I think I firmly believe that what we know as cancel culture in the mass scale would not happen in the form that it does if it not for these gadgets. Obviously, there are boycott campaigns, and and these sort of like a blacklisting and such that goes on in the old days. But in order to actually do that, to actually start a campaign to blacklist someone, you have to get other people on board. Whereas,
Yeah,
if you say that someone is this and this and that, you can say it without any basis, and then everyone would just believe you. And
yeah,
because you have all of these social devices, you don't have to face this person whom you're targeting face to face.
yeah. And that's kind of even as a musician, I have to watch those things. Like, I don't often post if I'm with my friends and we're enjoying a great time. I don't often like post any of that because I want to keep it for myself. Like those are the things I keep a lot of my personal life separate from my music and kind of social media life, which now a lot of people don't do because then just say like something happens, something I say got misunderstood. Someone could take that and run with it and then like my career is over. And that's the sad part from like an industry perspective. It's like these people have no basis and they don't know you as a person or as a musician. But there's always that fear, like something that I'm a joke I might have made at a gig to explain a song, and people might have found it funny. But then there's that one person who's like, oh, and they'll twist it. So it's always you've always got to keep like sleep with one eye open, I guess some people say. So
Mhm.
it's definitely difficult.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of familiar with people taking my words out of context. And I've learned that you cannot explain it to them. You just have to let it ride. And because of that, I basically minimize my social media use. I don't really post things anymore. And whenever I have thoughts on my mind, I either do it via this medium or talk it out to some personal friends whom I know uh, you know, uh, have my best interest and believe that give me the benefit of the doubt. And yeah, that is something that people often do not do often, don't they? Giving others the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. And that's kind of the hard part in my work that I've chosen as a musician is if it's not said in your songs and you don't hear it like in an interview, you don't really know because like I don't come on my phone and I don't post like every single thought that I'm thinking, and people only know what you put out there in your music and your opinions and your songs and stuff, which is it's difficult, but it's also something that like you have to deal with because we also have this luxury of I don't have to work a 9 to 5 every day. I get this great flexibility as a musician where I can pick my gigs. I can kind of do what I actually love and write my songs and just express them to the world and hope it goes okay, which is really lovely. I guess a positive of having that flexibility.
Mhm. Yeah. I wonder if you've had like a close group of friends that you can be, I guess, yourself with, be comfortable with without worrying about any of this, whether they are musicians or non-musicians.
Yeah, I have a pretty close knit friends now. I've got this one friend. We've been friends since I was in grade kindergarten. So we've been friends for a long time. And I know I can always talk to her. And of course, my musician friends they're really nice to talk about like these things in my work life that they're all going through as well. And my other friends who are doing like who aren't musicians, they don't really understand the kind of like if I say like I don't want to be posted in that picture, they don't really get it. They're like, oh no, but we're all here. We don't want you to seem left out. It's like, no, I don't feel left out. I just don't like I don't want that part of my life all over social media because it's not I want to keep that to myself. I want to keep those memories for me.
I see. Yeah. Yeah, I'm one of those people who try to avoid getting pictures of myself taken altogether. Because it's different than when I have myself visible on this camera because I know that I can have some control over it because I know that when I'm on this camera is my decision to do so. But when I have my pictures taken or my video taken, that is not the case.
Yeah. And that's kind of like I guess as people get bigger into the music world, they kind of always have that you're always getting their picture taken in a sense of or even like videos. Like even at my gigs now, people are always taking videos and pictures of me when I'm singing and I don't mind that. Like I that's perfectly fine. But when it like oversteps, I'm kind of like, hey guys, let's just chill out for a little bit and enjoy the moment.
Mhm. I wonder if you've been like recognized in the local traditional media in where you are. Say you got to write up in the local paper or get radio airplay in your local radio station, is etc.
Yeah, I've gotten I've gotten recognized a lot in the last little bit. I won the Newfound Talent contest with Music and L, so that helped me tremendously in my kind of launching my career. It was really awesome. And I've done lots of interviews with like Out of the Fog, and I'm doing Folk Fest this year as well. Um, I work with Matt Dines. He's a fantastic, I guess, sound engineer. He's great. So he helps me a lot with like setting up interviews, kind of getting my songs on the radio, which is lovely. And um, I definitely have been very grateful where I've had a lot of help through this whole process of kind of getting into the industry through Music and L, which has a fantastic support system. Like any question you got, they got the answer. So that was really great. I've been doing gigs now. I'm like the resident singer at the Wilds. Here
Mhm.
it's a pretty big hotel and like resort.
Oh,
And so I got that gig for the summer, which is lovely. And so just kind of like little things, they're not like too little, but stuff like that to build my repertoire is what I'm working on right now and kind of getting festivals and all those sorts of things.
yeah, I'm glad to hear it. And I would really like to visit St. John's at some point just to see you and many of the people I got to know by the show live, you know.
Yes, of course.
So, when did your interest in not just writing music but performing music begin?
It probably I was always like a performer, whether it was I was at 3 years old and I was playing with my little plastic electric guitar. I was always like I loved the whole it sounds condescending, but like the center of attention. Um, I always loved that and just the performance aspect of it. So pretty much my whole life, I've always kind of been a storyteller and just wanting to share my art form, whether it was dancing, singing, anything. I just loved that that like just sharing and like performing for people. I always loved it. And then I took it a little bit more seriously around when I was 13. That's when I kind of took off and decided to get into the music, like the music scene and start singing at gigs and taking my industry a little bit like more professional, I guess.
I wonder, were your parents supportive of your endeavors?
Yeah, they were always so supportive of me. Um, they kind of always welcomed any idea with open arms, whether it was kind of obscure. They were like, okay, we'll why don't we just change a few things and we'll work around it? And I was like, okay, awesome. They were always so supportive of me, whether it was music, whether it was like school, they were always there for me. And I'm so grateful to have parents that I'm really close with as well. Like all my free time is spent most times with my parents and my family. So I'm really close with them and we have a great connection. So
Well, I'm glad to hear it. I think for me, it took some years to finally build a relationship with my parents because at the time when I was struggling in school, they didn't quite understand. Therefore, they didn't really know what to do. So it was quite challenging, and I tried to introduce them to some of the things that I like, say movies and such, and they didn't get it either. But now they've beginning to, so that's quite nice. That's
yeah, it definitely took a little while for my parents, like, sorry, when it came to, I guess, some of my singing, my songs and stuff, it took a little while for them to be like, oh, I like this. But it just comes with time. They've opened up. And I guess it's at the same time, I always, you got to think about, as you're growing up, they're also growing up as well. They're also getting older and kind of new experiences, which I find we kind of often forget. And that's something my mom has always told me, like, I'm learning just as much as you're learning right now. So it was always a process of whether they agreed with something or not, they always kind of took the time to learn, which I was very grateful about.
yeah. So what music are you listening to right now?
I listened to a lot of country music. I grew up around country music my whole life. My dad was always really big into country music, my mom as well. So I listened to a lot of like older stuff now. I've gotten into like the appreciation of, I guess, like the Reba McEntires, Dolly, Willie Nelson, I guess Hank Williams, just the all like the bare bones of what made country music today. And I also love to listen to the singer-songwriter side of things, like the Zach Bryans, Tyler Childers. They're all very I guess they're more toned down country musicians. It's a different kind of country. They call it kind of alternative. So I enjoy that because it opens my eyes to different things. I still listen to other music like R&B. I'll still always listen to a bit of rock. Um, not a huge pop girl, but I think it's just I never really grew up around it, so I'm not familiar with it. And yeah, I'm always open to learning about new music. It's something I love. Like I'll go on Spotify or Apple Music in the evenings and I'll just find these songs and listen. And I love doing that and finding new artists that I love. So
Mhm.
right now it's just a lot of older country, but I'm also finding new songs every day, so it changes.
Awesome. Yeah. I don't think I'm a big fan of contemporary pop music. I think it's because ever since the late 90s, the pop stars that occupy the airwaves, they look and they sound manufactured. They obviously the image that you see projected by these pop stars are not who they really are. It's just their persona and such. But I think there was a time when these images and these personas are their creation or they contribute to it. But nowadays, I don't think that image is their own. And this is a very unpopular opinion of mine, but I cannot find the appeal of Taylor Swift. I talk to many people who are of country musicians of St. John's and elsewhere that they said that they really like Taylor Swift, but I personally do not find the appeal. And one of the reason is that I don't think that she projects an authentic image, or at least a creative image even.
Yeah, I guess I listen to a lot of her old stuff. Not someone I turn on all the time. My friends are big Taylor Swift fans. They love her, but um for me she's just like another artist. If she's on, I probably won't skip her song in my playlist, but I probably won't go to play it either.
Mhm.
So just kind of a I don't think she's phenomenal. I don't think she's bad. Just kind of some of her songs are pretty good. Um, but there's definitely so many more artists out there that deserve the recognition that she gets, that should be given the same like uh, airtime and treatment that she gets because they're authentic to themselves and they really show their artwork and their songs and their storytelling in a caliber that is sometimes much above what she is putting out there right now. And it's kind of sad in this industry that it's more of like a dog eat dog industry where you either make it or you don't. You kind of gotta figure it out, come up with these tactics, whether it's social media, whether it's songs, whether it's a company, record labels. You kind of always got to be on top of getting your way to the top. Everyone wants to be on top. So you're always trying to um, find new ways to get new fans, get engaged with people, get more gigs. So, and then when you see these artists on, I guess, a bigger scale than what I am, kind of not they're not putting in the work because I know they are, but they get things handed to them a little bit easier. It's kind of disheartening to us little people
Mhm.
where we're working so hard just to make it to the next level when these people have like sometimes hundreds of teams behind them doing everything for them, which I guess when you get that big you can do that, but it sometimes makes you feel like overwhelmed
Yeah, I
as a
think
musician.
so too. I think so too. Nowadays, Taylor Swift is enjoying, was it atomic levels of fame, because she's touring everywhere and she's like really re-releasing her old albums. But but I can never forget the era of 2014, 15, where she was everywhere and she was the most obnoxious. That was when I was in high school, and oh boy, she was like the toast of the town. And every single one of her like singles, was it Blank Space or whatever, was playing
Yes.
constantly, and no, I couldn't stand it. And these days when I hear people who say that they like Taylor Swift, I thought, well, good for you, but no, I she brings back bad memories.
Yeah, it's definitely a personal preference that you kind of have to navigate around.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think one thing about pop stars and especially some musicians, when you get big, like you apparently some of them, you no longer have any real control over, I guess, your direction or even the people who you talk to. Um,
Yeah.
I think there's this one experience which rather rubbed me the wrong way in that I was uh, I was contacting a well-known musician actually in Canada whom I will not name, and I got her management team, right? And they were asking me, and this is the question that I like the least. How many people does your show listen to your show? The real answer is I don't know, but I have certain like analytics and statistics that shows that where they're listening to and how many are listening to one episode at one time. So I published that, and suddenly I don't hear from them anymore. So yeah, that's
Yeah, that's the sad part where like you start to get so big in the industry that you forget about the people who are also like honestly me connecting with you today. I didn't really care how many people listen to your podcast, whether it was a million, whether it's like five, make no difference to me. I just enjoy sharing my story and my art form with different people. I think, and when you get really big in the industry, you kind of lose that touch. You just want like to be on the Jimmy Fallon show, or you want to get to the big, big stuff. And it's like, but these things, and even like local radio is for me, and it's like, oh, I'm so excited to do it because again, it's your people, and you like, I love just talking, whether it's one of my bigger accomplishments or just like a small, not even small, but just an everyday conversation. I think it's so important as an artist to keep those things in mind that um, it's so important to kind of follow your like keep your roots as well as seek those higher opportunities, whether it's like a festival or I don't know, getting on like a national radio station. But you still gotta remember that people that care about you the most are the ones that are at home and not at home, but like I mean like we're always there from the beginning. They're your home listeners. So that's something that you've always got to take in account.
Mhm. Yeah, and obviously I don't mean to boast or anything, but I don't seek out my guests because they are very famous people. It's only that I find them interesting, and obviously that led me to you. So I guess we should wrap up now. And my final question to you, which I ask every musician who's come on, is that what does music mean to you?
Music is everything to me. I music is like the heart and soul of who I am. Um, it's I honestly cannot say that there's anything in my life that I love in an entity. Like I'm obviously I love my parents, my family, but in like something and a passion that is music. It's always been there for me, whether I was happy, sad. Writing has always been there, performing. Um, no matter the scale, I've always just it's been everything to me. So I guess music means like my whole world. It's who I am. I love every aspect of it, all the opportunities. I love like talking to you today was fantastic. And even just the little things of writing a new song and getting excited over that. That's what I love about music. They like getting excited over a little song. You get that exact same feeling as if you're playing in front of a stadium, which is so great because music is always it's all around. It's always there and I love it.
Mhm. Yeah, I certainly enjoyed talking to you too, Mackenzie. So tell me about some of the upcoming songs that you may or may not have in your back burner.
Yeah, so I'm heading to the studio to record a couple more now, but I'm hoping to have my next song out in July. That would be the goal. Um, so that one will be called Economy, and that will be out in July. And the next one, hopefully, early September into October range, will be I Ain't Me.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay, I think that by the time this show goes on air, then your next single will already be up. So yeah,
probably. Yeah.
until then, best of luck and thank you again for chatting with me. Take very good care of yourself, Mackenzie.
Thank you for having me.